If this is what demons look like, then I'm ready to burn. We start off with the girl sitting in her room with that ugly hospital robe on. She's knitting and talking about how many letters she gets every day. Then some man comes to call her out for breakfast, so she's changing clothes now. I know you probably think this is Jennifer. No, it isn't. This is Anita. Anita, needy, Lesnicki. Anyway, during her narration, she describes herself as a kicker, and she shows why she calls herself that when a doctor approaches her. She gives her a kick worthy of a kung fu movie, and then spits on her. Two men manage to restrain her, but she's still kicking. She's then thrown into solitary confinement. She's saying she's not always been like this. The clappings made her this way. We'll find out what atrocity she's talking about as soon as we flash back to where it all started. A town called Devil's Kettle. How fitting. Now we see Jennifer. She's watching a workout video but is looking pretty lazy on her bed. Just like me. Anita appears at her window but Jennifer doesn't see her. Anita is telling us that just 2 months ago, she, her boyfriend, Chip, and Jennifer were all normal people. They were in high school. Jennifer was a baddie while Anita was a dork, but they were best friends, and that of course shocked everybody, including me. On one of those school days, Anita ditches her boyfriend to go to a rock concert with Jennifer. At this point, you can already tell the dynamic of the friendship. Basically, Anita's there to boost Jennifer's ego, and that is what Chip is trying to explain to his girl. He tells her she does everything Jennifer asks her to do, but Anita's deceiving herself that she and Jennifer have stuff in common. Sure you do. You're both girls, I guess. Anyway, while my boy is trying to get a little action going, Anita senses that Jennifer is around, and she is indeed. Okay, that's scary. So they go downstairs because, you know, the queen cannot be kept waiting. I thought they were going for a rock concert, but they're now in a pretty disgusting bar where an unpopular rock band called Low Shoulder is playing. Some guy named Craig tries to talk to Jennifer, but she ignores him and keeps walking. She then flirts with some guy, Officer Roman, before the band steps on stage, and now she's thirsting over them. You see, Jennifer wastes no time. She walks straight over to the guys and introduces herself to the lead singer, Nikolai, and even offers to buy him a drink. Role reversal moment. Maybe I have to become a lead singer of a rock band real soon. But this is not about me. Anyway, while she's off to get a drink, Nikolai is saying stuff to his bassist about Jennifer, and he mentions that he thinks she's well, the word starts with a V. Use your imagination. Anita overhears them and confronts Nikolai trying to defend her best friend. She says yes, Jennifer is indeed that, which is better than fooling around with creeps, like him. Though obviously Jennifer is not what they think. She even confirms that the backdoor entrance has also been entered. Geez, why are we talking about doors? Let's just move on. The band is playing now, and you know how it is in movies. Nikolai is maintaining eye contact with Jennifer all through his performance, while Anita can't take her eyes off Jennifer. At least not until she notices the entire bar catching on fire. People are running everywhere now. There's even a stampede. But Jennifer is just standing there, staring until Anita comes to drag her away, and they escape through the bathroom window. They get outside and they meet Nikolai, who gives Jennifer his drink, and then pretty much drags her to his van. She looks like she's hypnotized. She gets into the van, but Anita doesn't. Then Nikolai closes the door, gives Anita an eerie smile, and drives away. I don't like how this looks. Anita goes home and calls Chip to tell him what just happened, and while she's on the call, she hears her doorbell ring. She goes downstairs to answer the door, but there's nobody there. And just then, we see a shadow move behind her. She hangs up the phone and goes back in the house, and she hears movements. We all know the smart thing to do now is to run out of the house and go be with her boyfriend, but she instead decides to do a tour of the house all alone in the dark. Will movie characters ever get smart? Find out in the next episode. Anita now goes to the kitchen to turn off the tap, and when she turns around, she sees Jennifer bloodied and disheveled. She smiles at Anita and heads straight to the fridge, and is now eating like a monster. She even roars like one. Relatable. That's me after a midnight snack. And to cap it all up, she pukes some really disgusting thing like she's venom. Anita tries to go and call someone, but Jennifer stops her, slams her to the wall, and asks her if she's scared. She very nearly bites her neck, but she manages to stop herself and leave the house. Sounds like a good time to me. All I have to say is whatever happened to Jennifer happened so quickly, because how did she and Anita get home at basically the same time, and she had already turned into this monster? Anyway, the next day Anita's in the school, but she's still in shock. She's thinking back to when she and Jennifer were kids, and how she has now lost her best friend. But then guess who comes and jerks her back to reality? Oh yeah, Jennifer looking fresh and normal. Anita is obviously shocked. She's asking Jennifer how she's normal after last night, but Jennifer does some good old gaslighting, and that was enough. It wasn't really enough, to be honest. Anita still had obvious doubts. She tells her boyfriend about everything that happened, but he thinks she was affected by events that happened last night and just needs to see a shrink. To be fair, nobody would believe what happened last night really happened except if they were there. Now we see some football player Jonas, who sort of looks like the Incredible Hulk. He's out on the field crying about his best friend Craig, whom he lost in the fire. Rip in peace. Jennifer walks up to him and lies that Craig's last words were that she and Jonas would make an awesome couple. I'll remind you that Craig is the guy she ignored at the bar. Anyway, she manages to get Jonas to come with her, and they're now hanging out in the woods. He notices she's so warm, but that doesn't stop him. All the animals in the woods gather around and are staring. He stops for a second, but Jennifer's looks have him losing his mind. She tears his shirt and tells him he's he's going to meet Craig soon. He thinks she means in heaven someday, but she means right now. She pushes him to a tree, changes into her monster self, and devours him. God, I wish that were me. He's screaming so loudly that the entire school can hear, but the principal thinks it's just a student mourning the loss of a friend or something. Let it all out, kid, he says, not knowing that Jonas is letting his entire soul out. But when the cry doesn't stop, the principal actually decides to go check it out. Meanwhile, Anita's home now making herself a sandwich when she hears some guy on the radio saying Low Shoulder were the heroes of the fire. He says the guys risked their lives to save a lot of people, and they're even in the studio at the moment. Back at the school, the principal steps into the woods and sees a deer feeding on Jonas's torn up body. The police now come and take away Jonas's body, and one of the cops is consoling Jonas's mother, saying they'll get the man who did that to their son. His dad is saying he'll cut off the man's family jewels and nail it to his door. If only they knew it was Megan Fox, who has no balls. And right on cue, we see Jennifer taking a swim. Then she gets dressed and goes home. Once home, she calls Anita and she's just having conversations as normal. While they're on the call, Chip calls Anita and she puts Jennifer on hold. Chip is asking to meet while Jennifer is burning her tongue and loving it. Anita meets Chip, who tells her that Jonas was murdered. He describes everything to her and she thinks it all can't be a coincidence. Next day at school, everybody's moody and in dark colored clothes. But then there's Jennifer being effervescent in the brightest of colors. Slay Queen. Anyway, Devil's Kettle has now become so famous around the country for all the tragedy that's going on. They're in the papers every day now, but the students are healing slowly now. The entire school has faith that things will get better. But what's the use of that faith when the devil lives amongst you? To worsen the case, a month after the tragedy, the principal announces that Low Shoulder will be coming to help the community. 3% of the profits from their song, Through the Trees, will be going to the families who suffered loss. Anita's asking, what about the 97%? And that gets her in a debate with a classmate who says Low Shoulder are American heroes. Anita says Low Shoulder used Devil's Kettle and the girl was ready to fight. By the way, Jennifer looks terrible today, and Anita points it out to her. She says she feels like Boo Boo, and also she feels like one of the normal girls. You gotta love her brand of cockiness. But to be fair, she actually is looking pretty mid. While they're in the hallway, some guy named Colin comes to ask Jennifer out. If only he knew what he was bringing upon himself. She blows him off at first, but after Anita says he's a cool guy, she calls him back and tells him to come by her house tonight. Meanwhile, Chip and Anita set up their own date for tonight at his place. They're at his place now hanging out, while Colin is driving to his doom. Sorry, I mean his date. He's singing happily as he drives, but as he approaches the address he was given, he becomes a little suspicious. I mean, why isn't there any lights anywhere? But she is the prettiest girl in school, so he still goes in despite all the red flags. He knocks at the front door, nobody answers. Bro, I promise this is your cue to get out. But no, he goes around back and jumps in from the window into this obviously abandoned house. I have never been with a girl, but even I wouldn't do this. Just get out of there, bro. There's literally is that a raven inside the house, but he still keeps going. He finally finds Jennifer in a room with candles everywhere. And no, not the romantic kind, the very creepy kind. The first thing he says to her is, this isn't really your house, is it? She says, no, this is our house, just for you and me. She's so gorgeous that he doesn't even mind how weird this all sounds. She moves in as rats enter the room, but that doesn't stop them. At the same time that this is happening, Anita's having visions of Jennifer. She sees blood in the ceiling, then Jonas and Jennifer. Jennifer is now digging into Colin and really having a feast with his organs, while Anita's freaking out about where she is. It's like she and Jennifer have some type of uncanny connection, cause she feels everything Jennifer is doing to Colin. So she abandons Chip, gets in her car and just drives away. Suddenly, Jennifer appears on the road and Anita nearly hits her, but she swerves away. Then she jumps on her windscreen, but Anita manages to reverse and just drive home. There's nobody home, so she just goes and curls on the couch and flashes back again to when things were good and normal with Jennifer. She goes up to her room to sleep and she finds Jennifer in her bed. She's normal again. She doesn't turn into a monster. She doesn't eat her. Anita is so confused about what is happening. She threatens to call the police, but Jennifer tells her that she has the cops in her pocket. I thought she was a monster, not a politician. Oh wait, just kidding. Anyway, it would appear that Jennifer actually wants to explain things to her best friend, and she goes ahead to do just that. She tells her how the Low Shoulder guys took her to some place, and basically offered her as a sacrifice to the devil. She tried to escape, but she couldn't. I hate when that happens. According to Nikolai, making it as an indie rock band is so hard, so they had to turn to the devil for success, and this was how they had to go about it, sacrificing a pure girl to the devil. Yeah, Anita made them think Jennifer was pure. They sang a little song with her name, then Nikolai stabbed her multiple times, and not in the fun way. But she woke up a few minutes later, and that was when she made her way to Anita's house looking like crap. She was so hungry, but she could not bring herself to hurt Anita. You know, being a good friend and all. So she went out and ate one of her classmates, whom she saw on the road that night. And from then, she just knew that's what she'll have to keep doing to stay strong and beautiful. Also, she found out that she's pretty much indestructible. She even gives Anita a little demonstration. She shows off her healing powers. Very cool. But Anita still sends her out of her house. Jennifer jumps down from the window, but Anita doesn't see or hear her land. She basically just disappears. Next, we're at Colin's funeral. Anita's watching from the side as Colin's mom gives two of Colin's friends, who were doing too much, a stern talking to. Meanwhile, at school, they do a memorial for him, but everyone moved on fast, except Anita. She's now in the library doing some research on all these paranormal and satanic stuff. She finds out that a blade to the heart is the surest way to kill a beast. Keep that in mind. She and Jennifer haven't spoken since that day in her room, but they lock eyes in the hallway at school before Chip comes to Anita and tells her he just got tickets to the dance. But she says she can't go to the dance and tells him not to go too. He says she's been acting weird lately, even thinks she's thinking about breaking up with him, but she just tells him to come with her so she can tell him something. She tells him all about Jennifer and how she's evil. Apparently, there was a demonic transference, which is something that happens when you try to sacrifice a pure person without them actually being pure. According to her research, the demon will reside in the victim, and they'll have to keep feeding on human flesh for sustenance. So, by her calculation, the dance would be a buffet for her. But naturally, Chip doesn't believe a word of what she says and tells her she needs help. Anyway, she says she'll go to the dance, but she'll have to keep an eye on Jennifer. But she sort of breaks up with Chip. She says it's not safe for us to be together right now. I'd hate to be dumped like that. But to even be dumped, I'd have to first have a girlfriend, right? Oh no. Everybody's now getting ready for the dance, and Chip's mom comes in to hand him a can of pepper spray to stave off the man-eating beast if she approaches. Anita too is getting ready, but without a single smile on her face. And of course, Jennifer is getting ready, probably to eat, not dance. While Anita and basically everyone else is at the dance, Chip is still walking to the venue. Then Jennifer appears in front of him and says she needs to talk to him about Anita. She tells him Anita has been moody since Colin died because she and Colin were intimate. Not just intimate. According to Jennifer, they were doing things even she has never heard of. She gets into Chip's head so much that his guard is super down. Then she starts professing feelings for him. Meanwhile at the dance, the principal brings out Low Shoulder after saying the nicest things about them. Apparently they decided to play for free. I mean, why wouldn't they after getting rich off the school in the town? While they're playing and Anita's keeping a very straight face, Chip and Jennifer are getting acquainted in the woods. She asks him to say she's better than Anita, but he can't bring himself to say that. Suddenly, Anita's Jennifer senses are tingling. Chip! She runs out to go look for him. She goes to his house, but his mom tells her he left like 20 minutes ago for the dance. Meanwhile, Jennifer has taken him to some really creepy place. It's an abandoned and frankly disgusting pool they're sitting over now. She tells him she feels so empty and he says, me too, thinking she's talking about some emotional stuff, but no, she's just hungry. Meanwhile, Anita's running in slow-mo looking for him. His conscience finally comes back from war and he pulls away from Jennifer, saying this all feels weird. So she loses it. She pushes him into the dirty pool and she's throwing him all around now. He tries to get out, but she drags him back inside. He's screaming for help, and that scream is what helps Anita locate him, but it's already a little too late. Or is it? Well, she's already taken one big bite of his flesh when Anita arrives. Anita says a little prayer and jumps into the pool to fight off her demonic best friend. She pushes Jennifer into the water, but she rises back up, and then Chip hands the pepper spray to Anita. She uses it on Jennifer, but what's that going to do to a demon? Now Jennifer is hovering, but the ex-best friends still have time to take digs at each other. Anita asks her why it has to be Chip when she can get anyone she wants. Is it because you're so insecure, she asks? But of course, Jennifer says, I know you are, but what am I? But Anita has more words for her. She's really roasting her. She tells her she stopped being socially relevant 2 years ago. She says she needs laxatives to stay skinny. She's just wilding out here for real. Jennifer gets really mad and shouts that she'll eat Anita's soul. But as she approaches, Chip drives a rod straight into her stomach. Unfortunately, he just barely missed the heart. Jennifer removes the rod, asks for a tampon, and just leaves. I wish that were my rod. Now it's just Anita and Chip left. Chip apologizes and starts talking like he's about to clock out. He says he thinks he already died before she got there, but he woke up when he heard her voice. Romance even at the point of death? What a lad. They say I love you to each other. Chip tells her she looked great in her dress, and then he dies due to death. Anita starts wailing. Next, we see her on her bed just looking discombobulated. She looks at a picture of her with Chip, then another one of her with Jennifer, and it was in that moment that she made up her mind. She gets dressed and heads straight to Jennifer's house. She jumps in through a window and straight up starts attacking her. She gets on top of her and is strangling her, and in the process, Jennifer takes a bite of her flesh. Then Anita pulls out a blade. Remember, blade to the chest, but she's only able to get on her belly, and that wakes up the beast. Jennifer levitates now, but Anita is still fighting for her dear life. Anita tears off the BFF necklace from Jennifer's neck, and Jennifer falls down to the bed in slow-mo. As Anita's landing on her, she drives the knife straight into Jennifer's chest, and that does the job. She puts the beast to asleep permanently. But all that noise wakes Jennifer's mom from sleep. She comes into the room and sees what happened, and she's crying over her daughter's lifeless body, while Anita is just lying there staring. Then boom, we're back to where we started. Anita's in solitary confinement. She's saying she doesn't know who she is anymore, but she's a different person now. She's now scratching her shoulder where Jennifer bit her, and she says, if you're bitten by a demon and you live, you just might absorb some of the demon's abilities. Then she levitates, escapes from the window, and literally just walks out of the prison yard. Oh, that's why she kicked the doctor in the first place. So she could get into solitary confinement in the first place and then escape. Very clever. On her way home, she finds the knife the low-shoulder guys used to sacrifice Jennifer, and she picks it up. She hitches a ride and tells the man she's headed east, following a rock band. She says tonight is going to be their last show. Do I need to tell you what happens to Nikolai and these boys? Honestly, I don't have words to describe what happened, but as you can see, the crime scene was hella messy. And pretty poetically, the knife from the sacrifice was what was used to clap Nikolai. The last image we see is Anita from the security footage. I guess Anita might be needing a little makeover after this. Moral of the story? Megan Fox could get it.